Hello, North Alabama. This is the Fox 54 Week in Review. I'm Kenisha Dees. As usual, we've got all of this week's top local stories packaged together for you in this unique streaming program. Here's what's coming your way. A neighborhood shaken to its core after a massive warehouse explosion, sending shrapnel soaring high into the Tuscumbia sky. We'll check in with residents and the property owner after the fire and smoke cleared. The battle for Space Command front and center this week. Alabama lawmakers like Senator Tommy Tuberville see no reason why Huntsville shouldn't be the home turf for the U.S. Space Force, and they're not about to quit fighting for the cause. What they say puts us miles ahead of the rest, still to come. And can we have a zoo? It's the question many local residents and the people behind the proposed North Alabama Zoo want to know. And a recent feasibility study presents some promising answers. Details on those findings and so much more coming your way. Our top story this week was the weather. Severe weather did some costly and deadly damage to our neighbors in Central and South Alabama this past weekend. Thankfully, we were spared the brunt of it, but we weren't completely unscathed. We'll take you back to Saturday and Sunday for local damage reports. But first, here's Fox 54 Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman to let us know the facts and figures for this past weekend storms. Jordan.
We only had a handful of severe thunderstorm reports across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee last Saturday. Now, we did have one tornado warning issued really early in the morning on Saturday, right around 2:30 or 2:45 in the morning. And then we did have a handful of tornado warnings issued as we headed into Saturday afternoon through the early part of Saturday evening. Now, out of all of this, we only had one confirmed tornado across North Alabama. Definitely a little bit of good news there. The threat for severe weather really didn't come to fruition across North Alabama because of the extreme amount of rain that we got early last Saturday morning. Most folks ended up getting somewhere between 2 and 3 inches of rain, and that just stabilized our atmosphere so much so that the threat for severe weather ended up being much lower across the Tennessee Valley by the time that main round of showers and thunderstorms moved through the Tennessee Valley Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Like I said, though, we did have one confirmed tornado in Lexington. It was on the ground from 221 to 225. It was an EF1 tornado. It had maximum winds of 108 miles per hour. It had a maximum width of 63 yards. And it had a small path length. It only had a path length of 2.29 miles.
Thank you, Jordan. Mother Nature unleashed in Moulton. Lightning struck an apartment building in Lawrence County, sparking a fire and causing plenty of damage, making the units absolutely unlivable. Our team coverage of today's storms continues. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman spoke with family members of one person who lost their home to the fire.
Destruction lies all around me, and it was caused by a singular lightning strike. Thankfully, nobody was home in this apartment at the time.
That was the first thing that ran across my mind was, Lord, I hope nobody got hurt.
Alicia and Bianca are the sisters of Lauren McLean, who actually lives in the damaged apartment. She and her family were not home at the time of the scary incident.
It didn't cross my mind that, in fact, they were not there. They were out of town. But just the thought of them being in there, like you don't think they're not in there.
When lightning struck the Fieldstone apartment building, all these two sisters could think about was the well-being of their family and others.
I was devastated. I was in shock. I'm more so just scared for the people, not only my sister apartment complex, but everyone that lives here, because we all have children. It's small children that live here.
All of a sudden, I just heard this big boom, and I kind of felt a little lightheaded at first. I come out, and everybody said that they was running this away, saying it was on fire. And
Davy Adam Douglas is the next door neighbor. His place also saw damage, but as he points out, the loss of material things can't be compared to the possible loss of life.
It could have been a lot worse. Just thank God that we have what we got left, and you got to be thankful for that. You know.
Material things, an apartment complex can be fixed, but lives is gone forever. The apartment is destroyed, but no one is hurt. Everyone was able to still leave with their families and still hug them.
A member of the Moulton Fire Department says power has been cut off to the two damaged apartments. From Lawrence County, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
Glad everyone is okay coming out of that. Well, a GoFundMe has been set up by the homeowners, and within the first 2 hours, $1,000 raised. The link to that GoFundMe is on fox54.com. Yeah, that's the sound of rushing floodwater, a lot of what we've seen throughout the Tennessee Valley on this Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day. What you're looking at is flooding from Elkmont Estates in Limestone County, shared by District 4 Commissioner LaDon Townsend. He says crews are unstopping clogged pipes and assessing areas where the water is struggling to drain. The commissioner reminding folks not to drive through roads that look like this. Turn around, don't drown. We're going to continue our Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day team coverage with our reporter Ken McCoy near Athens.
As you can imagine, with a lot of rain comes a lot of flooding. I'm here in Limestone County, just off of Shaw Road, just north of US 72, where the streets have begun to flood over. I'm going to step out of the way right now so you can see exactly what it is that I'm seeing. Once again, a lot of flooding here in the area, not significant flooding. As you can see, cars have been able to pass through the area as we've been standing out here. But again, a lot of flooding has been going on in the area. Right now, the streets do look passable. Cars are having to slow down just a tad bit to get through. But, you know, as the night goes on, that might not be such a good idea. So right now, what we want you to do is keep up with road conditions. As you can imagine, as the night goes on, the roads may be a little difficult to see. You might not be able to see a lot of the flooding. So go to our website, fox54.com, where we keep you updated with Limestone County, as well as other counties here in the area. Reporting here in Limestone County, Kim McCoy, Fox 54 News.
Yeah, just look at that. Fox 54 received numerous reports today of hail in sizes ranging from $50 to baseballs. This is from Tyler Elkins in Franklin County in the Frankfort Green area, where the storm dropped a white blanket of fields and yards. You could see it right there in those pics. Tyler's images show hailstones about 2 inches wide. That's certainly big enough to do some damage. And so those living in the area will want to check their roofs and vehicles at daylight to see how they fared. And here's a live look at power outages around the Tennessee Valley as a result of severe weather throughout the day. You can see a majority of outages are currently impacting the northwestern side of the state. At yesterday's weather briefing, Huntsville Utility CEO Wes Kelly made it clear that crews would be ready to restore power as needed.
Everybody that knows how to put the lights back on is going to be standing ready to do what needs to be done to make sure that happens. We've got both Huntsville Utility crews and contract crews that are in the area and ready to assist. Our equipment is fueled up and ready to go. I would encourage you to make use of our website, hsvutil.org, to check our power outage map.
Severe storms leaving much of the Tennessee Valley shaken. From flash flooding in the Shoals to golf ball-sized hail in Franklin County, the lightning so strong that it completely destroyed an apartment in Moulton. This weekend, Alabama faced one of its most powerful storm systems of the year. The Yellowhammer State is reeling from the devastation caused by multiple tornadoes this weekend. The severe weather leaving at least 3 people dead in central Alabama, including an 82-year-old woman who was in her mobile home when it was destroyed by a tornado in Dallas County. Officials confirmed 52 of Alabama's 67 counties were hit, with Shelby and Talladega counties in the center of the state facing the worst damage. Let's take a look at this photo from Talladega County. You could see a school bus that was tossed onto the roof of Winterboro High School, their gym. It was a tornado that caused it. Governor Kay Ivey offering condolences to Alabamians impacted by this weekend's deadly weather, sharing in part, quote, "We pray for those lives we lost as well as those who were injured. We pray for our first responders, emergency management officials, and linemen who are doing incredible work on the ground right now." Flooding today in the northwestern part of the state after severe weather rocked most of the region last night. Some counties saw just puddles here and there, while in other parts roads were washed out entirely. These flood warnings are still active today, but the good news is there's no road closures. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo takes us out to Limestone County to see where all the water is still standing.
Normally a parking lot, the area behind me is now a tide pool, up to a foot deep in some spots. That's the situation across North Alabama after severe weather caused major flooding last night. Madison, Limestone, Lauderdale, and Colbert counties all have active flood warnings. Although most spots are clear now, some are worse than others.
All the debris that got into the cross drains and driveway pipes and, stuff like that, just, from the mass rain that we got, and just stopped up a lot of our pipes.
Limestone County Commissioner LaDon Townsend says a lot of the debris, leaves, sticks, and branches stopped up the drains going down the street. That led to water pooling on the shoulder and spilling over the roadway onto the other side, closing roads and preventing travel.
We're out today unclogging a lot of those drains and making sure that if we was to get any more rain, which I think that if we got clear weather for the next several days, we got a lot of drains to unstop. So they're working today to try to, make sure there's no debris in none of the roads.
Most of the water is gone by now and pooled onto the side of county roads, but the leftover debris is still there. State Trooper Brandon Bailey says to remember the driving basics to stay safe, regardless of the road conditions.
Even though we just encountered this ordeal with the storms, the rain, and some areas had, experienced tornadoes, it's important that we grapple back down and we understand that the fundamentals, seatbelt, watch your speed, watch your following distance, those type of things. Always do the fundamentals in driving. Let's not try to get complacent.
Always be weather aware and keep an eye on the road. What you think is just a puddle could be deep enough to stop your car. In Athens, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
That floodwater is receding with the sunny weather and should dissipate throughout the week. The emergency management agencies in each county will remove their respective flood warnings as they assess roadway conditions into this week. In the Shoals, residents were hit hard with heavy flooding after nearly 6 inches of rain fell in the area over the weekend. The Florence Fire and Water Rescue Team sprang into action last night, rescuing several people stranded in the rising waters. These images give us a clear look at just how deep those floodwaters got during those rescues. Thankfully, the rescue team says everyone they helped is safe and unharmed. And sticking in the Shoals, authorities are warning residents to stay away from Wilson Lock due to high water levels. With the lock dewatered for repairs, a temporary barrier is in place. Conditions around the lock and in the channel are already hazardous, and officials are advising against any recreational activities on the Tennessee River. Once water levels stabilize, they'll inspect the lock for any repair delays. This comes just days after the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers told Fox 54 News the repairs are on track for completion in June.
An explosion and fire early this morning destroyed a Tuscumbia warehouse and rattled an entire community. Officials say it was full of flammable materials. Thankfully, no one was hurt. But Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo was in the Shoals to show us the aftermath.
On a morning when severe storms were the biggest concern, people in Tuscumbia woke up to a different kind of destruction. An explosion, heard for miles around, rocked a storage building around 6:30 a.m. Additional blasts followed as the warehouse burned.
It was a very large fire, continued to have explosions for probably 30-40 minutes.
The fire destroyed the warehouse located on Gann Boulevard and sent metal canisters and pieces of the building flying through the air, landing 300 yards away. The fire this morning completely wiped out the building behind me. The explosions from it carried shrapnel hundreds of yards away and slammed it into nearby buildings, leaving holes and dents. In fact, when fire crews got here this morning, they had to wait until the explosion stopped before they could go in. And people here are telling me they thought it was thunder at first, until they heard it go off multiple times in a row.
Almost like artillery shells. It was really loud. It was such big percussions, it would actually shake your clothes. I was actually in the neighbor's building here, and his sheetrock, it flexed the wall so much, he has like screws coming out where it pushed him out of the wall. And some of the apartments, they got shrapnel inside their buildings. The gentleman right next to us, he's got holes all in his roof inside and got shrapnel inside there. It was pretty bad.
Tuscumbia's fire chief says it took about 2 hours to put out the fire with the help of 50 firefighters and police officers from Tuscumbia, Sheffield, and Muscle Shoals.
It was just too dangerous. We stood back and let all the explosions stop. And once all those stopped, we got the ladder trucks and master streams put on it, and it allowed us to put it out.
They're not sure just yet what started the fire. Chief Fox says the warehouse appeared to be a supply building filled with canisters of carbon monoxide and nitrous oxide.
Just 2 days later, people are driving by to get a look at the destruction. And here's footage that was sent to Fox 54 from the day of the explosions. The inferno sent metal canisters flying into nearby apartments, businesses, and other warehouses. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo went out to Tuscumbia to show us the damage to the surrounding area.
The city of Tuscumbia is reeling after the warehouse fire on Saturday blew shrapnel into many of the nearby buildings. Residents tell me what they saw that morning.
I felt the shock wave of it. It was just boom. You felt it, and everybody was coming over the Heinz tire. You could still feel it. Whatever it was loud.
It was something I've never seen before, and the black smoke was awful. When the fire department got here, they ran the ladder out and turned the hose on, and the wind was blowing so hard it blew the the water back this way. It didn't even touch the fire, so they had to stop for a while till the wind laid.
The fiery explosions at this warehouse on Saturday woke the neighbors with a start. Some thought it was thunder, and others online speculated it was fireworks. But here on the ground, I'm seeing lighters, ashtrays, disposable vapes, CO2 cartridges, and nitrous oxide canisters, along with pieces of the building. It's all still being investigated, but there's no evidence just yet to suggest a criminal investigation.
Local police and the drug task force, everything is doing all their searching and going now as well, which I had a meeting this morning with my fire chief and police chief, just kind of getting what's going on and kind of get ahead of the game before everything gets going.
But City of Tuscumbia Mayor William Foster says the explosions left dents and holes in many of the buildings surrounding the warehouse.
We had debris 300 yards away, did a damage to a lot of property. The homeowners, the property owners, all of them, they have to go through their insurance, file the claims with their insurance, and from there it'll be hashed out amongst, the responsible parties and all.
One of those property owners whose business got hit, Jerry Ham, says it's going to leave a dent in his wallet, too.
It's already hurt my business. I had to close Saturday. I couldn't even open up Saturday. You got it's the Bighorn fifth wheel down there. It's probably got $18,000, $19,000 worth of damage to it. You're looking at least 50 hours of labor. The whole roof is going to have to be replaced.
Nearby property owners are hoping for some kind of reimbursement for the damage. It's now a matter for insurance adjusters to come out and assess the damages. In Tuscumbia, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Mayor Foster says the investigation will take up to a week to finish. And in the meantime, there's not much the city can do to fix the area because it's all private property. Foster says to be careful driving on Gann Boulevard because shrapnel is still lying all over the place. TSA announced they intercepted 33 guns at Huntsville International Airport's TSA security checkpoint last year. It's a significant increase compared to the previous year. Our Gabe Glassman spoke with officials about those safety concerns.
Transportation Security Administration intercepted more than 100 guns at their Alabama airport checkpoints in 2024, many of which being intercepted at Huntsville International Airport.
Bringing a firearm in your carry-on is prohibited. You cannot bring a firearm to TSA.
When you go through the lines of Huntsville Airport's TSA checkpoint, there are several signs warning you about not bringing a gun through security. HSV intercepted 33 firearms throughout 2024. It's a sizable increase from the 20 guns which were intercepted last year.
The trend is very disturbing in that we stopped at checkpoints across the state of Alabama, 106 firearms in 2023, but 130 last year. And year to date, we've already stopped 15 statewide.
Officials are warning passengers about the risks involved with even bringing a firearm to the security checkpoint.
So if you bring it to a checkpoint, we're going to find it, we're going to stop it. A lot of people just fling their carry-on bags onto the x-ray belt, and it could have an accidental discharge, which could be dangerous to our officers and the other travelers, as well as the traveler, him or herself.
If your bag gets flagged, it then gets pulled off, and they do have to search it. So it just saves you time if you know exactly what's in your bag and know what's prohibited and what cannot be in your bag.
While travelers can't bring a gun in their carry-on, they can still check a firearm through proper procedures.
If you want to bring your firearm, it must be in a locked, hard-sided container, unloaded, and declared to the airline at check-in, and it goes into the belly of the airplane where you have no access to it.
Airport officials also recommend travelers start with an empty carry-on bag to ensure no prohibited items make it to security. From Huntsville International Airport, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
Bringing a gun through a TSA checkpoint could result in serious penalties with potentially $15,000 in civil fines and criminal charges. The man accused of shooting and killing a convenience store worker appearing in court for the first time today. Jari Williams is accused of shooting and killing Taylor North at a Circle K in Harvest just over a month ago. Our Gabe Glassman in the courtroom earlier today where Williams appeared for his preliminary hearing.
A Madison County judge has ruled to turn this case over to a grand jury involving someone who is being accused of shooting and killing a convenience store worker. Appearing in court Wednesday was Jari Williams, who is accused of shooting and killing Taylor North at a Harvest Circle K. Testifying today was investigator Stacey Rutherford, who described the scene he saw via surveillance video. Details include Williams entering the convenience store, reaching over the counter, and shooting Taylor North and leaving, all in under 30 seconds. Rutherford says Williams then tried to flag down cars less than a quarter mile from the scene. A search warrant later yielded a bag that contained a gun, clothes, and gloves. The Madison County investigator says Williams admitted the gloves were his. Members of Taylor North's family sat just a few feet away from him in the courtroom. Taylor's aunt, Kimberly Jones, says this was the first time she had seen her niece's accused killer in person.
First time seeing him in person, I can't really say what I felt.
She says the family will be very involved as the case progresses.
We plan on being at every hearing. The biggest thing is pushing Taylor's Law.
Taylor's Law would require a barrier be put in place between workers and shoppers at any place, which requires one-on-one contact.
That would help protect people from violence. The barrier put up to keep them from being harmed.
Jones says she's been working with Alabama State Representative Andy Witt to bring Taylor's Law to life.
He messaged me this week and said that he's talked with some of the association with Circle K, and they're looking at seeing what they can do to help prevent this and seeing what is taking place in other states as far as barriers.
And making sure something like this doesn't happen to anyone else has become a priority for Taylor's family.
Forrest Fleming, who is the attorney defending Jari Williams in this case, says he has no comments at this time as the case is still ongoing. From Madison County Courthouse, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
Five of the 6 people indicted in connection with alleged corruption at the Hanceville Police Department have entered not guilty pleas. Former Police Chief Jason Marlin and Officer Cody Kelso both waived arraignment and have jury trials set for September 15th. Eric and Donna Kelso, who face drug distribution charges, are scheduled for trial August 18th. Officer William Shelnut also pleaded not guilty, but no trial date has been set. The 6th defendant, Jason Wilbanks, is due in court this Friday. All defendants face felony charges stemming from allegations of evidence tampering and drug distribution following a scandal that rocked the department last year. The courtroom developments come as Hanceville's mayor released a new statement addressing the allegations and the fallout. You'll recall the city is starting from scratch, hiring a new chief and aiming to reboot the police department later this year. In his statement, Mayor Jim Sawyer pledged a commitment to integrity and service, and he said that required, quote, rebuilding from the ground up. Everyone on the department roster was terminated on Friday, though Sawyer thanked those on the force who he said served honorably. Some new information tonight in the murder case against a former Decatur police officer. New court records reveal the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals has denied Mac Marquette's request to have the judge in his murder case step down. This comes after Marquette's attorneys accused Morgan County Judge Charles Elliott of inappropriate communications, which they argued gave the appearance of bias. However, the court determined that Marquette's legal team did not provide a sworn affidavit or any factual evidence to support those claims. Marquette is scheduled to appear in court next week for an immunity hearing.
New tonight, Limestone County officials have arrested 9 men in targeted operations against child sex predators. 8 of the men are from North Alabama, and all arrests happened in the past week. The operation began on March 6th when a deputy responded to a disturbance call and discovered a missing child from another state. The deputy recognized signs of human trafficking and rescued the child. Deputies were able to target these men online soon thereafter. They all face multiple charges related to human trafficking and child exploitation. A judge will set bonds for the suspects at a later date.
A shock to Athens parents this afternoon after the owner of a daycare announced she will be closing the doors of her business due to safety concerns. The owner of King's Kids Daycare says these safety concerns were the reason for the sudden action. Our Gabe Glassman sat down with her earlier today and has more.
King's Kids Daycare sees nearly 50 kids come through their doors each day, but that won't be the case anymore. They're going to be closing their doors effective immediately. The owner says it's due to multiple safety concerns.
Things keep happening, it heightened, and I'm just asking for the additional patrol.
These incidents date back to Saturday, March 15th, where you can see in this security video a man approaching the entrance and trying to get inside the daycare. Since that day, Horton says she's met with a handful of Athens officials about these growing safety concerns.
We met with the mayor, chief of police, and members of the Athens and Limestone Board of Chamber of Commerce to take measures, precautions to keep this from continuing to happen to our daycare.
She was told there would be more patrol coverage in the area to help protect her business and the kids who attended the daycare. However, Horton says this patrol has not been noticed. The lead up to the big decision Thursday caused by another man approaching the daycare in the morning, this time while kids were inside. Athens Police Chief Anthony Presnell tells FOX54 the person who tried to enter the school never gained entry and wasn't on the property when officers had arrived on scene.
He stayed in the area staggering through for like about 3 or 4 minutes. My staff was calling the police. I had told my other staff members to go ahead and initiate protocol.
But these incidents have forced King's Kids Daycare to take action.
The fact that they are not protected and the fact that I can't protect them and me having to shut down, it's going to hurt. When I moved here, I realized this was my purpose. This was my calling. Here, we're the only daycare in the area who does ABA therapy. We do we do speech therapy. We get kids what they need. We have a lot of fosters. We have a lot of immigrants. We're just a melting pot. The children are really my heart.
And this action will remain the case until a safe solution is in place.
Until I'm 100% sure that my students and my staff and myself is safe, we will not reopen this door.
Horton says the concerns have always been about the safety of the children which come through this daycare's doors. She said she made the difficult decision with them in mind. From Athens, Gabe Glassman, FOX54 News.
The CEI bookstore in Athens making a comeback after being destroyed by an EF1 tornado late last year. This week, they're restocking their shelves and greeting customers at a new downtown location. FOX54's Caleb Aguayo takes us out to Athens to show how community made it all possible.
The CEI bookstore in downtown Athens is open again in a new location after nearly 3 months of work involving both employees and the community. Now they're located just down the road from the building that got destroyed at 103 West Washington Street. Employees and customers alike tell me after the tornado touched down in late December, it took a lot of effort to get all new inventory back on the shelves.
It's been long hours and tough work. There've been a lot of days when we've been, shoveling debris and filling up dumpsters and moving shelves and, putting things together and all of that. In a sense, this week kind of feels normal.
After all that cleanup and the big move, they had to repurchase up to 97% of their books, shelves, and novelties.
We did have some dead inventory that was very old that we didn't replace, but most of it was current and live inventory that we needed to get back on the shelves as quickly as possible for the customers because they come looking for it. And we did add some new product.
And some are saying they've been waiting months for the reopening.
This morning, it was like as soon as I walked in, the first customer was like, I've just been waiting for y'all to open. I've been watching y'all on the news and following y'all on the website and my emails. I've been waiting for this day.
Old and new customers alike tell me it's great that they decided to reopen after the total devastation.
Small businesses like this care about the local surrounding area, and I think that's very, very important for any type of a town. Because again, everybody that's in here on a day-to-day basis cares about the surrounding area, the streets, and not just their own business, but other businesses and whatnot.
Taylor says they'll be in this location for 6 months to a year. They're on a short-term lease with the new building's owner, and they're looking into a timeline on repairs for the old building. In Athens, I'm Caleb Aguayo, FOX54 News.
The bookstore survived the last 3 months through the community coming together to pitch in and through sales on their online store. You can find a link to their page on our website, fox54.com. 14-day application window for Decatur's chief of police position ends tonight. It's where we start. I'm Kenesha Dees. This marks the next step on who will permanently take over the department to help move the community forward. Gabe Glassman spoke with one social justice activist who believes this has been a long time coming.
It's almost decision time for Decatur's top government officials. When the clock strikes midnight tonight, the application for their permanent police chief position will close. The application for Decatur's next police chief will only be up on the city's website for a few more hours. Standing Empower co-founder Terrence Adkins says it's been long awaited for this process to finally happen.
The lead up to this process was extremely slow. It didn't seem that the city was going to do anything about it. So when we got to the last couple of weeks where Todd has stepped down, It's just been a long time coming.
The former police chief Todd Pinion stepped down from his position nearly a month ago, and Decatur Mayor Tab Bowling only appointed Natus Carlisle Jr. as the interim chief almost 3 weeks ago.
We deserve a decent public safety indicator. We don't deserve leadership that is lacking. So it's good that they're moving as quickly as possible because it is a public safety concern.
Adkins says officials should take as much time as possible when making a decision which will impact thousands of residents.
This is something that needs to happen quickly. I hope that they have been doing their research and doing the work necessary to find a chief.
And Adkins has a checklist of qualities he would like to see come with the next chief of police.
I'm looking for someone who has leadership qualities, who is an effective communicator, who wants to actually make this department better. I need someone who is going to go in and get those bad apples, quote unquote, out of the department, those who can go and make the department more community focused.
The timeline for the big decision made by city officials is currently unknown. From Decatur, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
Interim Police Chief Natus Carlisle Jr. has previously told Fox 54 he's not sure if he would want to take on the police chief role permanently. The family of missing Huntsville realtor Ronald Dumas Jr. says they're not backing down and seeking justice in his disappearance. Their next move, a renewed push to bring Dumas' story back into the spotlight. They're re-engaging with news media in Huntsville, expanding their reach to Memphis, and even pushing for national coverage. Why? Because the suspects in this case could be anywhere, and they believe the more people who see Dumas' story, the better the chances of finding him.
Memphis has a heavy amount of news because it has a large amount of crime, and they have the same amount of minutes as every other news station in the country. So when they see this case out of Huntsville, I'm not sure that they realize the importance of it, but these fugitives are from Memphis. We suspect that they're still in that area. And I think finding them is going to be crucial to getting Ronnie back. And that's the part that we really care about.
Yeah, their goal to find the suspects. Here locally, Dumas' family is focused on rebuilding trust with Huntsville police. They say right now that relationship is broken, but they're determined to push for answers and accountability. We've reached out to HPD for updates on the investigation, and we're waiting to hear back. Governor Kay Ivey is taking a strong stance on public safety, signing a new bill into law aimed at keeping dangerous weapons off the streets. Arkin McCoy breaks down what this new piece of legislation means for the state.
On Wednesday, Governor Kay Ivey signed Senate Bill 116, a measure that bans illegal machine gun conversion devices, often referred to as Glock switches. These small but powerful attachments can turn a semi-automatic handgun into a fully automatic weapon, drastically increasing the rate of fire. The legislation, sponsored by Senator Will Barfoot and Representative Philip Ensler, addresses a critical gap in enforcement. While there's already a federal ban on these devices, Alabama officials wanted to make sure that state law had the power to crack down on them as well. Governor Ivey emphasized that SB 116 is about giving law enforcement the tools they need to get these illegal devices off the streets. In a statement, she said in part, quote, "While there is a federal ban on these gun conversion devices, we needed a way to empower our own law enforcement here in Alabama to get these illegal and extremely dangerous Glock switches off our streets." From the beginning of this legislative session, Governor Ivey has made it clear that improving public safety is her #1 priority. She says she looks forward to seeing other crime-fighting bills make their way to her desk. So what's next? Other pieces of legislation in the Safe Alabama package continue to move through the legislative process. The governor hopes they will soon add more layers of protection for Alabama communities. For now, with SB 116 officially signed into law, state law enforcement has a new tool to combat crime and keep Alabamians safe. We'll continue to keep you updated on the progress of the Safe Alabama package and bring you updates as more bills move forward. In Huntsville, Kim McCoy, Fox 54 News.
An investigation underway by the Alabama Department of Public Health. It's because they say a child who tested positive for measles traveled through the state this month. The child was not vaccinated, so the department is looking into areas where the child may have exposed others to the virus. ADPH said that although the exposure of the child to others while in Alabama is expected to be low, the case serves as a reminder for the public to stay up to date on the measles vaccine.
We've had access to measles vaccination or vaccine since 1963. It's been highly studied. It's very effective and very safe. and it will and help prevent measles spread and transmission.
You can get vaccinated anytime if you decide to get measles vaccine. Now, we usually prefer it to be done in childhood because this is the most common time that you'll see measles.
To learn more about vaccine recommendations and what symptoms to look out for in measles, visit fox54.com. The North Alabama Zoological Society just released the latest on their long-running project. The North Alabama Zoo is where we start tonight. I'm Kenesha Dees. A feasibility study and market analysis tell us there are some pros and cons to starting its development. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo joins us now in the studio to tell us about the potential for a new zoo here in North Alabama. And Caleb, what have you found?
Kenesha, they're in the stage of looking for funding. The newest market studies come out of Pennsylvania, where third-party reviewer Canopy Strategic Partners says the area is a good location for a zoo. However, there are some problems with getting it all started.
In 95% of circumstances, like there just are a lot of zoos already, or for whatever reason, like it's not going to be a good fit. But this is one of those much more rare cases where I actually think sort of the greater Huntsville, Northern Alabama region is a super welcoming location for a new zoo.
That's the word out of Pennsylvania this afternoon from Canopy Strategic Partners, who took a look at the North Alabama Zoo to see if it's really needed in the area. So the organization got to work compiling everything needed to support plans for a new zoo.
The key question in a feasibility study is how many visitors you're going to be able to attract to this hypothetical zoo. We find, say, 8 or 10 or 12 other zoos in markets that kind of look and feel and smell a little bit like the market where the zoo would be located, right? So we're looking at demographics and population density and distribution, economics, and finding other zoos that exist in markets that kind of feel like this one.
Ethan Woodruff with the Zoological Society says the study went beyond what he expected. He says, quote, "The results were that we underestimated the feasibility of our zoo from our original study 6 years ago," end quote. But among other problems like locating funding, a location, and local partnerships, the care for the animals is a top concern for some residents.
Part of the conservation efforts that I've seen Australia Zoo provide, for example, they do have a zoo on the surface, but they also have other things that they offer with their facilities that you can engage with and interact with the public. I feel like that should be the standard if there's going to be a new zoo. But that also takes a ton of money and manpower to do what they do, which I know is not going to be funneled into this project, not to the extent that it should be.
The Zoological Society hopes to establish the zoo as a publicly supported nonprofit entity with care that exceeds national standards, but they're struggling to find the funding for it, being rejected in 2024 by the Limestone County Commission to join in on local tax revenues. Live in the studio, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Thanks, Caleb. In the meantime, we'll be keeping track of any new information on the zoo for you. You can check that out online on our website or on Fox 54 Plus app. The battle over the permanent home for U.S. Space Command here in Huntsville today, where the city is at the center of the debate. Despite Redstone Arsenal being ranked as the top site in an extensive evaluation, the Biden administration ultimately decided to keep Space Command headquarters in Colorado. But Alabama leaders aren't backing down. Arkin McCoy has more on why they say the Rocket City is the only choice.
For years, Huntsville has been touted as the ideal home for U.S. Space Command. With its deep roots in aerospace and national defense, Redstone Arsenal seemed like the obvious choice. But when the Biden administration reversed the Air Force original selection, Alabama leaders pushed back hard.
In Huntsville, we're used to winning, and when we win, we reap the rewards. Well, we won in 2020.
Senator Tommy Tuberville has been one of the loudest voices demanding answers and pushing for reconsideration. He urges that Huntsville offers unmatched infrastructure, security, and cost efficiency.
Everything's ready. We've got the land. We've got the process. We've got the organization of what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. And it won't take long to get it moving once it's allocated. But that's got to happen.
Support for Space Command in Huntsville goes beyond politics. At the University of Alabama in Huntsville, Turning Point USA held a conversation on the matter. Infrastructure was a key concern in the discussion. Dale Strong's Huntsville director, Dylan Smith, spoke on how the city will be impacted.
This is a huge job impact for our district. You're looking at potentially 2,000 jobs, and the impact and the offshoot of more jobs being created as a result of Space Command being here. That has to be looked at as well.
Students at UAH see the decision as a way to have more deeper conversation. Turning Point USA leaders say the event aimed to rally support and encourage young people to stay engaged in the conversation.
We want to consider all sides of the argument. I think the case is pretty clear cut to bring Space Command here, but you want to consider all the pros and cons. Traffic in Huntsville is a major concern, housing and prices and affordability, and so when we bring in a big organization like Space Command, we do have to think about that too.
While the Air Force conducts its own assessments and makes recommendations, the president has the final say. In Huntsville, Ken McCoy, Fox 54 News.
While it remains unclear whether the decision to keep Space Command in Colorado would be reversed, Alabama leaders say they will continue to press for answers and will keep following this story as it develops. While political leaders were promoting the move of Space Command to Huntsville, city leaders responded to the renewed push. Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle told Fox 54 today that the city has passed every test during the process with flying colors. But Mayor Battle added, while losing Space Command might not hurt Huntsville, it could hurt national defense.
We would love to see the decision made to come to Huntsville, Alabama. Is it a life or death issue for us? I mean, Huntsville will live and live on pretty well with or without. But for the nation's sake, where can we locate that long-term will provide the best defense for the United States and the best Space Command facilities possible? It's going to be Huntsville.
Mayor Battle added that if the decision was made, the Huntsville housing market would be ready to handle the relocation of Space Command. Today, the U.S. Space and Rocket Center honored the children of the man who made Huntsville the Rocket City. Peter, Iris, and Margaret von Braun were celebrated at the center today with the first Founders Award from the institution. The event coincides with the center's 55th anniversary. It opened this day in 1970, something von Braun had long pushed for. Margaret von Braun spoke with Fox 54 about what it means to come back to Huntsville and honor her father's legacy in the Tennessee Valley.
Well, we were just at the 50th anniversary of the Von Braun Center the other night, which was quite wonderful to celebrate that and to see how big that event center has come. And here at the Rocket Center, obviously there are just so many legacies that our family is so proud of. But I think the thing that my dad would be the proudest of is the young people who are inspired by this, because he was really about education and about inspiring people.
Margaret added that she is grateful the Space and Rocket Center is beginning to honor the women and children who played a supporting role in this space race. District 4 residents, your voice matters. Councilmember Bill Kling wants to hear from you on how to better serve the district. Each March, he distributes comment cards throughout the community to gather your questions, concerns, and suggestions on many topics, including road resurfacing and quality life improvements. Councilman Kling says it's good to hear honest, direct criticism.
I get the best input possible from real life people that live in the city of Huntsville. They can fill them out, give me some good blunt criticism, and give me things I need to work on. And this time of the year, I expect that many things will relate to needed road work and road improvements that we need for the city.
Survey cards are available at several locations throughout the district. A list of those locations can be found at fox54.com. In a first for the Rocket City, Huntsville was ranked #1 in economic development for most innovative company. The city of Huntsville's music office was spotlighted by the business magazine Fast Company. The Rocket City made it to its 2025 most innovative company list. Projects such as the Orion Amphitheater, Music Ambassador Program, and South Star Music Festival were highlighted as to why the city was ranked so high. City Music Officer Matt Mandrella says the financial support by city leaders has been important to the work done so far.
To see how we're using music is not only a tool to grow the music economy, but just for the economy altogether, and also for the workforce development altogether. You know, a city with a more dynamic music scene makes more people want to live in it and visit it. And so putting that in place, you know, sustaining Huntsville's future for years to come, and just, you know, making the city a more enjoyable place to live and a more enjoyable place to come visit.
Yeah, some good recognition for the Rocket City. Mandrella added that he views the achievement as more of a community award than just a business achievement. Owens Cross Road City Council has postponed its decision on whether to revoke the business license for a controversial troubled girls facility. Pathway of Madison County was set to close in October following a riot that raised concerns among city officials and police. During last night's meeting, Mayor Tony Craig noted that the council received the transcript from a public hearing held on March 4th. The council plans to review this information before making its final decision regarding the mental health center, which has faced ongoing scrutiny.
And we're going to review this and take into consideration the comments that were made here. And we're supposed to get back with Christie on a poll
in a timely fashion
by Friday, probably. We're supposed to get back with Christie by Friday and let her know if our decision's changed or not.
The City Council had previously revoked the treatment center's business license back in January. Prom, not just for the teens this spring. Adults, you can get dressed up too, and for a good cause. Get ready to dance in your dress and toast in your tux for the Rosé Ball, ran by the Rosé Society. The nonprofit, made up of women, aims to support women and children in North Alabama. All proceeds go toward 3 partnering organizations: Crisis Services of North Alabama, Habitat for Humanity of the River Valley, and Therapy Partners.
A lot of our charities work with single mothers, and we provide support for that. I mean, the charities that work with children, and just to support our community, to support charities that provide that support where they may not otherwise get it.
It's more than a ball. It's more than an adult prom. As a patron coming to the ball, you really can experience this overall community feel, and everyone walks in and they kind of feel like family. It's like one big family reunion of all the Huntsville citizens.
Yeah, the event is April 5th at Stove House. Tickets are $75 each. The ladies also tell us so far 80% of tickets are sold. For details on how to get yours, visit FOX54.com.
Welcome back, everyone. The St. John and Nepal, the second football program, is taking important steps to improve the on-field results. Kevin Crean is back for his second season, making him the first Falcons head coach this decade to lead the program for more than one season. Crean has instituted the first year-round weightlifting and off-season conditioning program, and the Falcons, they'll have a brand new home, leaving Discovery Middle School for Joe Davis Stadium, a move Crean hopes proves to the current and prospective players that the Falcons are now a bought-in football program.
In the past, it was, let's go out on the field in the summer and roll the ball out there and see how good we can do in the fall, and that's just not okay. That's not what we're striving to do. So we're putting together a program that, you know, requires accountability, it requires commitment, and what Joe Davis Stadium does is it demonstrates to those kids that, hey, we're serious.
Hey, sports fans, UAH and Nova Southeastern have been 2 of the best teams in the nation on the Division II ranks. The 2 squads have combined for 64 wins and 2 losses. Tonight, they squared off for a spot in the D2 Elite 8. The championship game of the D2 South Regional taking place at Fort Lauderdale. The Sharks, they jumped out early on the Chargers. Let's check out some first half action. MJ Iraldi squaring up from 3-point range, and he will knock it down from downtown. Nova up by 10. Chargers did fight back near the end of the first half. Luke Burnett launching a 3 from the near wing, and it's good. It's an 8-point game. Then it's Blake Campbell, the hero of the GSC Championship, getting some separation. He'll connect from downtown as well. He had 19 points on the evening. UAH trailed by 5 at the break. Campbell wasn't done. Under 5 to go. Another 3-pointer from the far wing. UAH trails Nova Southeastern by 3. Then Tommy Murr spins, drives, and scores. It's a 1-point game in the final minutes. But Tyler Efferhard and the Sharks, they finished the game on a 6-0 run. Chargers put up a good fight, but Nova Southeastern too tough tonight. UAH falls for only the second time this year, 76-69, finishing the year 32-2.
I'd be lying if I said I thought we'd win 32 in a row or however many it's been. I think that I don't know that any of us expected that, although we believed we could be a special group.
The UNA Lions men's basketball team in new territory tonight with their first ever appearance in the men's NIT, and they did it on the road against Bradley. Now the Braves, they have been to the NIT 20 plus times in their history, and they began the game on fire. Christian Davis getting a good look in the corner, and he's going to connect from three-point range, putting the Braves up 8-0 over the Lions. Then UNA will lead Darius Hannah wide open. He makes them pay with another three-pointer. Bradley started his game off with a 2-touchdown lead. It was 14-0. But Dante Bacchus tried to keep UNA back in this game, scoring 19 points for the Lions, but they still trailed by 18 at the break. The Lions never gave up in this one. Ja'Cory Lane going through the lane and scoring right here. All of a sudden, it's a 6-point game. But that early deficit was just too much for the Lions to overcome, and their season comes to an end tonight as they fall to Bradley in the open round of the NIT by a score of 71-62. Sticking with the NCAA men's tournament, we will have full coverage of these guys, the Alabama Crimson Tide, starting on tomorrow. We got video of them arriving in Cleveland today for their round of 64 battle against Robert Morris. Last season, the Tide rolled all the way to the Final Four before losing to eventual champ UConn over in the state of Arizona.
Welcome to Cleveland, Ohio, and welcome to Rocket Arena, the home of the NBA's Cleveland Cavaliers and the NCAA men's basketball tournament East Region first and second rounds. Now, back in October, Alabama raised a banner in honor of their 2024 Final Four run. Head men's basketball coach Nate Oates said that was the ceremonial end to that historic season. But as we enter another edition of postseason play, it's hard not to have that as the standard for this team that's so talented and so capable of making another run deep in March. That all begins here in the Rock and Roll City. 7 players from last year's Final Four run are back with the Crimson Tide in the NCAA tournament, including the 2 who play the most, Muscle Shoals native Mark Sears and wing Grant Nelson. Now, every season is different, sure, but there's still some lessons learned from lived experience that help, especially instructing new guys how to play with your season on the line.
We just got out of a pretty good practice this morning. I think our guys are ready. The new guys are fully aware of what we have to do, and Mark and Jaron have both had real success in the NCAA tournament. Should play off that, have confidence knowing that we know what we need to do, but we got to go out and do it.
You know, at the mid-major level, you have to win the tournament to go to the championship. And high major level, you still got to win games to get a good seeding. And when you get in that tournament, you just want to have that competitiveness to want to make it farther than you did last time.
We turned it around going into the tournament, you know, after losing to Florida. The lesson learned was just stay together, you know, be persistent through adversity, stay focused. You know, just play together as a team. You know, when things don't go our way, we just got to stay together. And that's kind of what helped us, you know, after the loss we had. And we went on a run from there on. So that's kind of the same mentality we have right now.
One of the Final Four returnees is Grant Nelson, but his experience might not be much use if he has to miss the game. He comes into the first round matchup against Robert Morris as a game-time decision because of a left patellar tendon strain. Nelson and head coach Nate Oates both called it a true game-time decision.
We'll see how today goes and tomorrow warming up. I mean, it means everything. I mean, just to get to this point, it obviously sucks. I'm facing an injury right now, but I mean, I'm going to do what I can to get out there tomorrow and hopefully help my team get a win.
I mean, Grant wants to play. He's a competitor. He played great in the NCAA tournament last year. I think it's looking a little better, obviously, for Sunday than maybe Friday, but there's a chance he could play, so they're going to wait to make a decision until see what he looks like tomorrow morning.
With or without Nelson, the Tide can't overlook the 15th-seeded Colonials. Even as overwhelming favorites, now is not the time for the Tide to lighten up.
We just play like our head is on fire, man. Like, we coming off a loss, and we understand that in the NCAA tournament, anything can happen to anybody, so we just want to go out there and take care of what we can take care of and control what we control.
Oh yeah, count on FOX54 Sports to bring you more March Madness coverage. We're the only North Alabama station with a crew in Lexington covering the games, and there's so much more in store for you on FOX54 Plus. Be sure to download to your TV and watch for free. For everyone at FOX54 News, I'm Kenesha Dees. Have a good and safe weekend.